Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to be hunting raccoons over a bait pile. I'm going to be setting up the bait pile today along with the Guard Pro cell camera on it, so I can determine what time these raccoons end up coming into the bait pile. I'm going to be setting up the blind behind me, and I'm going to be hunting them with a night vision scope. So my plan is to set up the bait pile somewhere right over here in this little clearing. The blind is going to be right behind me in this little thicket, since the predominant wind is west, so it's going to be blowing from the bait pile into my face, so the raccoons shouldn't smell me. I've had trail cameras in here quite a bit in the past, and there has been quite a few raccoons that use this to travel through, so I'm going to give it about a week with the bait pile out here for the raccoons to find it and for them to set up a routine so I know what time they're coming in. Hopefully, anyway. I'm not really a night owl at all, so the hardest part for me here is going to be getting myself up in the night and to stay up during the night to get after these raccoons. So let me get the bait pile set up and get the cell camera on it. I'm going to be using a mix of deer corn and dog food. My plan is to set up half the dog food, so about 25 pounds worth, and the whole bag of deer corn, which is 40 pounds. If these animals eat all this in the matter of the week, that won't be good. But it's not too far from where I live, so if I have to come down here and rebait it, then that's what I have to do. I'm going to be mixing it with the dog food, more so hopefully to keep the deer out of it and other critters like squirrels and such. I don't think it's really going to work, especially with the squirrels, but maybe with the deer. We'll see. But alright, let me get these piles set. Alright, so this is my Guard Pro cellular trail camera here. I've used this during the deer season since the end of October, and everywhere that I put it has had like no deer activity pretty much, so you never really saw any of the footage of this, except for you few that probably saw the Guard Pro review video. But this camera sends videos straight to my phone, so I'll be able to determine what time these raccoons are coming into the bait pile. And it also has a live viewing feature where I can tune in and see what's going on at the bait pile right at that exact moment. So I'm going to put the intervals for these videos quite spaced out so that I don't get like 1,000 pictures a day of crows and squirrels eating from this bait pile. And I'll probably turn it off during the main portion of the day to avoid pictures of that all in general. But this hopefully will also help me for the day that I come in here to hunt them, that I can quickly check the bait pile to make sure nothing's here and I don't spook anything out on the walk in. But let me get this camera set up. Alright, so I set the time interval from 3 p.m. to 7 a.m. so no videos will be taken during the day outside of those times. Let's turn this camera on. Alright, it's on. Now let's get the blind set up. Alright, so this is my new tide weed blind that I got over the summer. This is the first time I'm going to be actually using it in a hunting situation. I didn't really have a good spot for it during the deer season, so it'll go to good use today. But I'm going to be setting it up in this little brushy spot right here. I want to lock it to a tree with a cable lock just so it doesn't blow away or nobody steals it. So let's get that done. Alright, there we go. It's all set up. Let me just get it locked to the tree. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Gonna be set, waiting for next week. Alright, so everything's set up. Here's the blind. It's chained to that tree right there. The bait pile is probably only 10 yards right this way. And the trail camera I ended up moving to this little cedar tree right here, facing right down on it. So as I said, that cell camera is set to only work between 3 p.m. and 7 a.m. so I won't be getting any crows or minimal squirrels with it being 3 p.m. but I kind of want to see if any deer end up coming to this and if there's any nice bucks around still. So yeah, gonna leave it for a week. Hopefully some raccoons show up, and I'll hopefully see you guys next week when I'm out here hunting. Alright, so the bait pile's been set up for 5 days now, and starting on day 2 the raccoons started to come in, and pretty much every day there has been more and more showing up to the bait pile. They're pretty consistent on the time. The first time they come around is around 7 p.m, and then they disappear until around 1 a.m, and then they intermittently come in between 1 and 6 in the morning. Probably going out there around 5 p.m. is my guess. I think I'm going to have to rebait the bait pile tomorrow because I think there's a record number of raccoons in there right now. I'm going to pull up the live feature that goes straight to the cell camera to see what's in front of it at this very moment, to see what we've got. Alright, so we'll just go into the Guard Pro app here, click on the camera, go on the live feature, start the live footage, see what's on here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, look at all of them right there. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I'm gonna say 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nope, there's 9 of them there. There's 2 of them right up here, back to back. You can see the 2 different backs. Look at them all right there. That's a lot of raccoons for one location. Unfortunately, I won't be able to get there for a couple more days. Otherwise, I would be in there right now. Even though it is a Sunday, and in Massachusetts you can't hunt on Sunday, so I guess I wouldn't be there right now. But I would be tomorrow, if that was the case. But can't hunt tomorrow, can't hunt the next day, so I'm going to have to wait for that third day, next Wednesday, to get out there and get on these raccoons. Also, unfortunately, when you're hunting raccoons, you can only take 3 in a given day, which by the looks of it, so long as they don't smell me or spook, I shouldn't have any issues with getting 3 of them. But that still leaves 6 at least in that general area, which still seems like a lot of raccoons for one little spot. Might have to hunt this spot 2 nights, but let's see how the first night goes. So I'm just gonna keep watching them as the pictures come in over the next couple days. Probably gonna have to rebait it a little bit tomorrow just to make sure there's plenty of food there for when I get out there in the blind. And I'll see you guys on the day that I'm gonna be heading out to the blind to hunt these raccoons. Alright, so today's the day that I'm heading out to the blind for the raccoons. It's been 8 days since I initially set out the bait pile, and there's been a ton of raccoons coming in there pretty much every night, as you guys have seen from the trail cameras. It took them 2 days to initially start showing up, and after that their numbers have just been going up and up. From what I can tell, they were pretty consistent about coming in around 7 o'clock. At first, they would stick around for 20-30 minutes, and then they would all leave. And then they would come back like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning and just trickle in and out for the next 4 or 5 hours. So I'm going to be heading in there right at sunset to hit that group that comes in around 7 o'clock. Although I rebaited it 2 nights ago because the raccoons were ravaging the food, because there's way more of them in there than I thought there were. As I showed you guys, there was 9, and last night around 2-3 a.m. there were 10 in that spot. So there's a lot of raccoons in there, so we should most definitely have some luck tonight. But the night after I rebaited it, they came in around 8 o'clock rather than 7 o'clock. And last night, they came in at 6 o'clock rather than 7 o'clock. So I'm gonna get out there a little earlier than I originally planned, just in case they do that again. They're on a schedule, that's for sure, and they look nice and fat, so they should be good eating. But I'm gonna show you the gun I'm gonna be using tonight. I'm gonna be using a Ruger 1022 here. I've had this gun for a few years now. Used it in a few videos of mine, I believe. And then the scope is a night vision scope by Oneleaf.ai. This thing's quite heavy with the scope. I mean, this scope's super cool. It has long range zoom. You can record with it, which you'll be seeing tonight so long as the raccoons actually come in. The UV light for night hunting, and it even has a rangefinder here. But I just sighted it in today on the farm. This thing's super easy to sight in. It takes 2 shots pretty much. You just lock it in place right in the center of the target. You take 1 shot, then you press the zero ring feature on the scope, and you just move the reticle right over to the hole and press save, and there you go, sight it in. And then you shoot again just to make sure it's correct. Super easy to use. The only downside I've really seen with this scope is how heavy it is. That should be no problem. I'll have my shooting stick today. So I got a couple hours until I'm gonna be heading out to the blind. So I'm gonna pack everything up and I'll see you guys out there tonight. I'm probably gonna go in real quiet just in case the den tree is close by. I have a feeling it probably is. All right, so it's about 4:45 right now. I'm heading out to the blind. I'm not expecting the raccoons to get here until at least 6 o'clock like they were last night. But I'm gonna check the live feature on my cell camera I have down there just to make sure that nothing's down in there right now. All right, looks good. Nothing's in there. All right, I'll see you all when I'm down in there, set up, and through the scope cam. All right, so it's the next day. As you could tell, didn't get any raccoons last night. I think I set the blind up too close to the bait pile. So to explain what happened, around 6:30, I started hearing some walking coming from my left side. As I went to raise the gun up, something spooked from right where I'm standing right outside the blind, and it took off running. I could tell it wasn't a raccoon, it was moving way too quick. Then heard something else walking along the creek, along the edge back here. I got the scope up, and it was a gray fox. Gray fox was walking along the edge there, and it kept looking back this way. So I figured maybe there was another fox or something, or I didn't really think much of it. He ended up walking off, going down along the creek. And then another 30 seconds later, I heard something else walking over behind this pine tree in the back here along the creek edge. And when I got the scope up, I saw the butt of a raccoon walking down into the creek bottom, and I never saw him again. And the rest of the time I was sitting out here, I could hear stuff skittering up and down trees all around me. I had coyotes barking and howling. I tried to get on film, but I could never get it on film because when I finally got it recording, they would stop. And then around 9:30, I just got up and left because I figured the raccoons probably weren't coming, and I was correct. Because I checked the cell camera this morning, and there were 0 raccoons here last night. Not a single one came to this bait pile at any point last night. So I don't know what it was I did, but I really spooked them out of here. I honestly think that it has to do with the light on the scope, because I didn't realize how bright that was. And it has an eye cup that's supposed to go over your eyes to cover that up a little bit more, to make it not as bright. But of course I took it off thinking I wouldn't need it, and turns out I probably do. So I'm gonna have to reinstall that, and I'm gonna get some sort of tape or something to put over the lights on the top so that this light isn't moving around all over the place when I'm trying to raise the gun or move the gun around. But the bait pile's right here. I'm gonna figure out another spot to put this blind further away. It's only about, I don't know, not even 10 yards from the blind right now. And I want that to be at least 30, if not 40 if I can get it to 40. But the predominant wind is west, so going from the bait pile straight to the blind. And most days it's more northwest and southwest, so I think I'm gonna move it down this way, but I'm not sure, I gotta figure it out. All right, so I've got it all resituated now. Bait pile's right there. The blind used to be right here in this open spot. I couldn't get it quite as far as I wanted to because it's too thick in here, it's hard to see. but I've got it probably double the distance at least. So here's the bait pile right here, right under my feet, and the blind is now back behind me up against that brush. So I have a nice clear shooting lane in that one little opening of the blind straight down here to the bait pile. So hopefully that makes a difference, and hopefully these raccoons come back with a similar schedule like before. I mean, shoot, there's been 10 of them here at any given time on multiple occasions, so there's way too many raccoons in here, and some of them have got to go back to their old schedule. Hopefully tonight, we shall see. The temperature is supposed to drop way off starting tonight. It's supposed to get down into around 20 degrees and feel like 10 degrees with the wind. It's 50 right now, so that's a major drop off. I'm not sure how that's gonna affect the raccoons, but I just adjusted the trail camera here a little bit too and faced it a hair down, so hopefully it gets pictures of the whole bait pile and not just the top of it. Probably won't be out here for another week or so, so until then it's just gonna be a waiting game to see what these raccoons do. Alright, well, it's been 8 days since I was out here raccoon hunting last, and the raccoons did not show up that first night after I hunted them. But on the second night, they reappeared at 3 a.m. And then for the next 3 days, 2 or 3 days after that, they started going back to their regular schedule. Only 5 of them, though. I haven't seen any more than 5 at a given time. But after that 5th day, the temperature plummeted down into the teens at night, and then down into the single digits. And this past Sunday, we got like 6 inches of snow or something like that. And since then, the raccoons have not been back. So it's been 4 nights straight that 0 raccoons have gone to the bait pile. I rebaited a few days ago with a little bit more dog food. But with the cold weather and the snow, they just haven't been around. But that was Sunday. This is Thursday. It was 45 degrees today. A lot of the snow melted. And it's the last warm day before the temperature drops off again and stays dropped off. And this coming Sunday, they're calling for 12 to 18 inches of snow. So this is probably the last chance I'll have to actually hunt them like this, since the season's only going on for another week after this week. So if it doesn't work out tonight, I'm kind of just going out there on a hunch, thinking that if they're gonna come in, they're gonna come in tonight. So it's a little after 5 o'clock now. I'm gonna give it until 9 o'clock tonight. I taped up the lights on my scope, so it's not gonna be quite as bright, hopefully. And I got the eye ring, so hopefully there's little to no light shining at these raccoons to make them skittish. But if this doesn't work tonight, I'm gonna have to resort to trapping these raccoons. So I'm gonna get in the blind, and I'll see you guys there. All right, well, it's been about a month since the last time I was out here raccoon hunting. The bait pile's still here. I added another bag of dog food like 3 or 4 weeks ago, right after the last time I hunted here. And as you can see, there is a well-worn game trail running right to the back creek right there, coming up to this spot. So I showed you guys a whole bunch of the videos that have taken place between the last time I hunted here and today. It is February 18th this morning. And right after the last time I was here, it snowed a bunch. We got like probably 18-20 inches of snow in the matter of 48 hours. And after that happened, the raccoons disappeared. Completely disappeared for at least 2 weeks. And during those 2 weeks, the coyotes found the bait pile. And there's been about 4 of them who have been showing up here pretty much every single night throughout the entire night since then. I hunted it one evening right after a couple of days when they were showing up here right before the end of legal light. And I waited here until I couldn't see anymore with the shotgun, and I left. And unfortunately, they came in about a half an hour after that. And I have not been back here since because it's either been cloudy or now the moon's gone, so I just can't see here at night to go after these coyotes. But starting about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, the raccoons slowly started trickling back in here. It's not 10 of them anymore. We're only getting like maybe 3 or 4 during the night that show up to this bait pile. The raccoon hunting season is closed, but the trapping season is still going on for another 10 days until the end of this month. So I got 2 of my cage traps here with me. I'm gonna be setting them out probably against these 2 trees. Now hopefully we can get 1 or 2 of these raccoons using the traps since the hunting part did not work. Also, the battery to the cell camera died a couple days ago. I have a very good idea on when these raccoons are coming in. It really doesn't matter what time they're coming in anymore. As long as they show up during the night, then the traps can work. So I'm gonna swap out the cell camera. I'm gonna be using that for a different video. I'm gonna be putting one of my regular trail cameras here for the remainder of the time that I'm gonna be going after these raccoons. But as you can see, I have a big piece of plywood right here. Because of the snow, and it's still probably about 8 to 10 inches deep, I don't want the trap sinking down into the snow, preventing it from closing properly and letting the raccoons out. So I'm gonna be putting them on top of that plywood. I also brought some paper bags from Walmart that I might be putting the other trap on top of. It just so it doesn't sink down into the snow, and then when it does close, the door can't close all the way and the raccoon can escape. That's the idea anyway. So I'll show you this trail that these raccoons are coming in and out of. Still a lot of coyote tracks in here too. But as you can see, this is the trail leading back here. I don't know where they're coming from. It looks like they're coming across the ice or walking along the edge of the ice, it looks like. It's hard to really tell. But they are heavily using this trail. But the bait I'm using today, I'm using a can of sardines in each one of the traps. And then I have a whole bunch of marshmallows as one of my subscribers recommended for me to use. So I'm gonna be putting a couple marshmallows out in the pile here, along with some extra corn that I brought with me, and leading a couple of them over to the traps. Although, I don't know, I might just put them right over here where they're coming up the hill and just intercept them that way before they even get to the main bait pile itself. I don't know, I'll figure it out. But either way, I'm gonna get those traps set up and I'll show you that when I'm done. All right, so I got the 2 traps set up. I have the first one right here, right next to the bait pile. And the second one is back there up against the creek where the raccoons seem to be coming in from. Trail camera is on this tree right here facing the creek. In that first trap, when they come up the hill, got a can of sardines and a bunch of marshmallows in each one of them. So we'll be back tomorrow and hopefully we have a raccoon in one of these traps. All right, day 1 of checking the traps, and there's nothing here, unfortunately. Hopefully that changes for day 2. See you guys then. right, day 2 of checking the traps. I'm walking up on it now and I see something in it. Looks like a raccoon. And the closer one, can't see the back one yet. Oh yeah, it's definitely a raccoon. Oh, I think they both have one. Yep, looks like both traps have a raccoon. Yes! All right. This is gonna be a fun walk out of here with 2 of them. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, both of them. Sweet. There's that one over by the creek. And the one by the bait pile. Oh, that's a big one. Oh, they're both big. All right. Sweet. Is that one there? And that one over in that trap. Awesome. Finally got something out of here. It's about time. I do have to close down both the traps because I won't be able to check them the next couple days. Today's Friday. I work the weekends, so I'll reopen it on Monday. We're supposed to get some snow Monday, but originally they were calling for another foot of snow, which if that was the case, this would probably be the end of the trapping here. But I think they're only saying like 3 to 5 inches, which I'm hoping holds true, or even less snow than that, because that way we'll be able to continue trapping for the last week of the season. But let me get these raccoons dispatched and I'll get them out of the traps. But let me show you a close-up of that second one first. Well, here's the second one over here. Oh, you're right. You're right. There he is. I like having it on this platform. He couldn't dig anything around it, so it is easy to get it reset. Although he did eat the plastic on the cable lock there, but that's all right. But all right, let me get these 2 dispatched and get them out of here. Here's the 2 of them side by side. It's definitely a smaller one on the left there and a bigger one on the right. The 2 that I got on the farm are definitely bigger than these 2 are, but that's all right. They should have some nice good fat on them from eating from this bait pile for the last month. Nice thick furs on them. They're not all torn up from the breeding season. Should eat good. Can't wait to see what they have for fat on them. As I said, closing down the 2 traps for the next couple days. Today's Friday. I'll be back out here on Monday to reopen them, so long as we didn't get a foot of snow. But I'll see you guys then. All right, well, as you can see, we got a lot more snow than what was anticipated. It is the following Thursday, so really I would have been 3 days into checking these traps again. But as you can see, we got a record-breaking blizzard on Monday when they were originally saying 3 to 5 inches. We ended up getting over 2 feet, close to 30 inches of snow. So, and if you can also tell, there is 0 tracks coming in and out of this spot now. So unfortunately, that's the end of the trapping season here for me, and that's the end of me pursuing these raccoons for the season. Did end up getting 2, which I'm really happy with. It almost didn't happen. I only had those 2 good days to actually be able to trap them, and luckily I got 2 in that one day. But I'll have to pursue this spot next year, so long as I'm still living in this general area. So really, I'm just gonna be picking up the traps today, and that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed, like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all next time.